Hello, beautiful unicorns. How are you doing on this amazing Tuesday? Yana Kasperczak coming into you live from Ontario of Canada, where the weather is magnificent, and I can't wait to get out there. It's been a while since it's been nice and warm and hot, where you can actually sunbathe. So, Yana Kasperczak, and it has been my soul's purpose to help women, to help you get your shit together so you can break free from the mental prison that you find yourself in and live the life and build a life or business that you are not only dreaming of and planning for, but actually love and enjoy doing and showing up and participating in your business and in your life every single day. And so today I wanted to talk about this topic that has been brought to my attention over and over and over again, and I feel like this is a perfect time to talk about it because a lot of us are living in a reality, in a world that we are not happy in, and struggle to understand why our life is the way that it is, why things are the way that they are. And most people, what they do is they start blaming others for it, but that's not how things are created. This is not how reality is created. The reality is in the eye of the beholder. So the topic for today is how your personal reality is created. Your personal reality is created through you, through how you see things, how you interpret things, through your perceptions, through your belief systems, through your attitude, through your personality. Your personality, who you are and who you're being, is what creates your personal reality. Your personality is your personal reality. But the great news is that it's not permanent, it's temporary. As you continue to change, grow, and evolve, let me just put my phone on silent. As you continue to change, grow, and evolve, as you have been your whole entire life, and you will continue to do that for the rest of your life, things will start to shift and change. But not everybody gets to do that. Not everybody is allowing themselves, consciously or subconsciously, to overcome themselves. So, as a certified professional, performance and spiritual awakening core energy coach, I have been indulging in this topic for myself first and foremost, and then I started applying that into all of my coaching sessions with everyone and helping people to police themselves. But it starts with me policing them, which this is what it means, that a client comes to a session and they share with me one problem that they want to overcome or want to work on today, and what's really coming up for them, what they're dealing with. And me, as the coach, as the police, I hear what they're saying, that they're not hearing themselves. And more often than not, which is most of the time actually, it really comes down to not what is happening in the external world, but what is happening in the internal world. If you are going through some personal challenges and you're finding yourself being triggered from your coworker or your family member or being triggered even by your kids or being triggered by your dog or just some car that drove by and you didn't like how it drove by and you catch yourself feeling triggered, it is not the external trigger that is causing you the internal turmoil. It is the internal trigger that is causing you the internal turmoil. And that trigger was not something that was outside of you that created that trigger. That trigger was created within you. At one point or another in your life, that trigger, that button was created by you, within you, through your perception, through your belief systems, through your values, through your attitude, through what else is here? I have a few notes to remind me. Through your own behavior patterns, through how you interpret certain experiences, through your own emotions, through your own achievements and failures, through your own life journey. Everything who you are and who you're being was self-created, mostly unconsciously. And now you're carrying stories about your reality, about your personal reality, and you have not been taught how to go into your personality, into who you are being, and understand who you're being, that is creating your personal reality, that is creating your anxiety, that is creating your depression, that is creating your overwhelm, that is creating your annoyance, frustration, irritation, exhaustion, the state of mind of I don't want to, or I can't, or I'll never be, or I'll never have. Your mindset, everything who you are and everything that you're experiencing in your eternal world is not permanent, and it can and will be changed, and you can recreate it in the way you can recreate your reality in your life, in your experiences, by going within and working on yourself, by understanding yourself. The first time I started to really understand this, and nowhere near the level of how I understand it now, because we all start in the beginning stages, in the infant stages, and then little by little, the more we apply our knowledge, the more we practice what we've learned, we understand more and more and more each and every time. Hey Kelly, how are you doing? Beautiful. Thanks for hopping on and saying hello. And so for me, the first time I got to really understand this, your personality creates your personal reality, without those words, was going through a program called The Law of Being. And I went through that program in 2018, I believe it was, which led me into the coach training program that I signed up for, paid a pretty penny for that, went through it, completed it with flying colors, and I loved it. And now everything that I've learned through that is what I not only apply onto my own life or into my own life, is what I help others do as well. And I also am a facilitator of the Law of Being program that I take a group of women through once a year, because it's a 6-month program that I take women through, even though it's designed to be 16 weeks, but I take women through it in depth, and the best way, after having taken a group of women through it quite a few times, I have learned through feedback that 6 months is the way to go, because it really helps each and every woman to go into depth of her personal reality and identify the opportunities for growth and, go to town with them, as I like to say, which means you identify the opportunities for growth and you go after one, then another, then another, then another, and before you know it, your personal reality is something that you are so proud of and so happy and excited to wake up to every single day, because you feel an enormous sense of purpose and fulfillment living your life, building your life, and living your business and building your business. And I typically work with women who are entrepreneurs and they are building a business, and my approach has always been, starting with myself, has always been to build a business around my life and not the other way around, and not building a life around the business, because I have done and lived that way, working for someone else and building their business and building their dreams, and then building my life and enjoying life after, around this 9 to 5. And this is where more and more and more women especially are migrating to becoming entrepreneurs, because they understand the power and the ability of entrepreneurship around this topic of, or this approach of building your business around your life, which means identifying what kind of life you want to live, how you want to live it, what you want to do, what you want to experience, what kind of adventures you want to go on, what your hobbies are, what your passions are, what the things that you're curious about, the things that you love to learn and share and maybe talk about. And then after your life plan is in order, then you see, okay, based on my life, what kind of a business would I love and be passionate about building that I can fit around my life? A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, some days not at all, and the ability to take weeks off as well. So now let's go in depth of how. I'll spend another maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes sharing this part. Hey Rebecca, how are you doing, beautiful? Rebecca says so true. So I'll go in depth into, I'll share just 7 key points of how your personality is creating your personal reality. And these are usually the ones that women tend to be working through when they work with me. So the first one, as I mentioned, was perception. Your perception and your perspective. Your personality influences how you perceive and interpret the world around you. For example, someone with an optimistic personality may tend to see situations in a positive light, while a pessimistic person may have a more negative outlook. I want you to think, first I want you to identify, are you an optimist or are you a pessimist? And be honest with yourself. You don't have to be honest with me. I prefer it for everybody's sake, but I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you an optimist or are you a pessimist? Or are you both? Perhaps it's circumstantial. For me, I'm an optimist, but I went through a period of my life when I was a pessimist. And for me, that was what depression was. That was the biggest part of being depressed, being depression, and going into the deep rest that depression creates. So if you are an optimist, then I want you to think of a friend of yours or a family member, someone that you know who is the opposite of you. Okay, you have them in mind? Okay, now I want you to think back to an experience that both of you have went through Maybe there was an event, maybe you were just simply going for a walk and you had a conversation, or you met someone, or something happened, and now afterwards you perhaps have a conversation about what happened, and you, as the optimist, you express how you experienced that experience, and her or him, as a pessimist, how they experienced. And we get to learn from one another as well, right? So this is an example of how each and every one of us interprets the world through our own individual lenses. How one event, how one experience can be interpreted in an infinite amount of ways, but narrowing it down to optimistic and pessimistic. That is what perception is. That is how we each perceive and interpret the world in a different way. And you walk away seeing that in a positive light, while someone else walks away from the same experience in a negative light and way, and has now different conditionings, different stories taking shape in their own mind, and continues to create their personal reality through such a thing as perception, perspective, and interpretation, all in one little egg nest, I'll call it. The second way is how your personal reality is creating your reality, is your belief systems, your values, and your attitude. Now, one biggest key point that I have experienced through the law of being, especially through energy leadership index assessment, which measured my energy levels based on the 7 energy levels. And that's something I can take you through as well. If you're interested, reach out to me and we'll have a chit-chatty. And so it really is identifying and seeing my attitude and shifting it and changing it. That is what energy leadership index assessment is. It's an attitudinal assessment. It assesses your attitude. You versus the world, or the world versus you, or I am the world, right? Depending on where you are, and as long as you're being honest. So your personality is shaped by your beliefs, your attitudes, and values, which in turn influence your thoughts, influence your feelings, your emotions, and your behaviors, and your actions as well. These beliefs can create a lens through which you view the world and affect how you respond to different situations. So, what you believe to be true will be true. We also see the world based on our value system. If something that we experience goes against our values, our attitude can shift in a negative way. And this is where a lot of our triggers are created as well, within our belief systems, within our values. If one of your values is love, and someone in your circle is not expressing love based on your own expectation and your own standards, then you will be triggered. You will find yourself feeling annoyed and irritated because someone around you is pushing your buttons, because they're not being loved. And to you, that is a value. And your values are not being met, so you will naturally be triggered. And if you give in to that trigger, if you don't work through that trigger quick enough, and you continue to replay it minutes, hours, weeks, and days after the fact, then you will start to notice more and more and more of your personality, your current personality, reflecting in your personal reality. You will start to notice a lot more people who are expressing the lesser parts of them that are not being loved. And at the same time, you can be connected back to the first thing that I was talking about. Perhaps this might be your pessimistic moment and not optimistic moment as well. How you're perceiving the world and seeing it. Now, the third one is behavioral patterns. Your personality traits such as introversion or extroversion. Are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? I am a total introvert, but I have ability, just like all of you, to be extroverted. And I choose when I am an extrovert, and sometimes I feel like I don't choose. And this is where I can find myself feeling annoyed and irritated because I didn't prepare for it and it just happened, right? Because of my own expectations. So an example being, if let's say, I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, my son stayed home because he wasn't feeling well. Pretty quickly, he started feeling much better. Maybe it's magical powers that I seem to have. So my expectation was, it's Monday. I am going to be home by myself. I have certain things that I like and enjoy doing in my morning, in my mid-morning, in the afternoon, and there's plans, there's structure to my day, but not a crazy amount of structure, because I love and enjoy flexibility where I get to choose what I do within certain times of the day. So we ended up going for a walk to a dog park. This is what I started going back to with my dog, because I really prefer my dog being off leash. She's much better off leash than she is on the leash, and maybe because I don't enjoy practicing her being off leash. And I feel like I have much better control of my dog off leash. And then it's also better for her. She gets to get all that energy out. So anyways, long story short, for me, I wanted to spend my expectation is that I was going to go to this dog park and be in silence and hear the birds and just decompress and get ready for the next thing, for the next thing, for the next thing. And my son is a lot like me, but a much younger version of me, and he was just talking the whole entire time. When we got home, he continued to talk, and of course I would conversate with him as well, but I found myself being annoyed and irritated because I had a certain expectation, and I caught myself. I'll work through it as I'm listening to him, and let go of this control, of this expectation that today is a day that I get to share with my son, and I'm going to be here, I'm going to be present in the way that I'm being called to, which is not how I expected it. But if motherhood is not our expectations being challenged, then I don't know what motherhood is. So I shifted, I changed, and I molded to the day. And it turned out to be an amazing day that we got to spend together. I got lots of things done. He got lots of things done. It's just a matter of let me get you entertained in a different way that is not on technology, not on social media, not on any of those things. Okay. So we're talking about behavior patterns. So your personality traits such as introversion or extroversion, consciousness, openness, agreeableness, how agreeable are you, and neuroticism influence your behavior and decision-making process. These behavioral patterns can impact the choices you make and the actions you take, ultimately shaping your reality. So we were talking about being an introvert and extrovert. And the reason why I shared that I'm an introvert and I also am able to be an extrovert is because it is a choice. We can choose to become an extrovert, and that will change. That means that we are going to be changing our personality. And if you want to be more extroverted, identify what traits you want to have. that express your extrovertedness, that allow you to be an extrovert. And chances are it's not going to be throughout your whole entire day. It might be just moments, or it might be just who you become completely. And little by little, you can become an extrovert. Maybe when you are out in a public surrounding, or at a gathering, or at a party, or you go to an event, maybe you're typically an introvert where you're not going to go up to people, you're not going to start a conversation. Maybe you'll find yourself just sitting alone and just sticking to the people that you know. But if you want to practice being extroverted, maybe that would mean you go walking up to one person and starting a conversation with one person. Maybe it's walking up to a group of people and starting a conversation with a group of people that are already having a conversation. So joining someone else's party conversation. Maybe it's let's play a game and playing a game, because maybe you are comfortable with playing games. So identifying these little opportunities for you to change your personality that will bring you closer to that reality that you want to be living in. Practicing becoming more conscious throughout the day, becoming aware of where you are, what you're doing. It's like being present in the moment. And also consciousness, what I expressed to you, what I was doing while out on the walk with my son, is I became conscious of who I was being and my personal reality in that moment, while his personal reality was entirely different. He was full of happiness and joy, and mine not. So I became conscious and practiced being conscious in the present moment, identify who I was being versus who I actually want to be and actually who I am, and shifting to that because it's a choice. So practicing that a little bit more. If you are not too open, practice being more open. If you're too open, practice being less open, like an open book. If you're sharing or oversharing, and you know you are, I used to be an oversharer, then practice being less of a share. Keep more to yourself. Privacy is power as well. And I like to remind myself, just because my Facebook profile, my socials are public, does not mean I am, or my personal life. Everything is a choice. So the fourth one is social interactions. Your personality also influences how you interact with others and how they perceive and respond to you. For example, someone with a charismatic personality may attract positive attention and opportunities to them, while someone with a more reserved personality may have a different social experience. I am more on a spectrum of someone who is more reserved and not very charismatic. At one point in my life I was, and then little by little I started shifting, and now I am working on becoming somewhere in between, kind of like pick and choose, like introvert and extrovert, where I get to choose when I'm an extrovert and when I'm an introvert, and at the same time, when I don't feel like I'm a choice, becoming conscious and practicing being present and working through my internal turmoil in that moment, because that's the opportunity for me to not only understand myself, but to continue to cultivate and create a personal reality that I want through my personality of who I am being. And that's why understanding myself and my attitude has been the biggest turning points of my life. As I said, it's the Energy Leadership Index assessment and the law of being that go hand in hand together perfectly well. But even if just going through one and not the other is still incredibly, incredibly transformative. because I've had women who just went through the law of being without the energy leadership assessment, and then also women who went through the energy leadership assessment without the law of being. So Rebecca says, wow, attitude assessment. Yeah, it is, like I said, it's extremely helpful to understand our attitude and see who we're being when we're on a normal day, and then also when under stress, because this is when the opportunities are, when we're under stress and not the day-to-day regular, when we feel great and amazing. So we talked about emotional responses. Number 6 is goal pursuing and achievements. Your personality traits can affect your motivations, your persistence, your resilience, and goal-setting behaviors. That's why a lot of women, they and I see this all the time, and this is one of the things that I saw in myself as well, is that who I was being, my personality was affecting how not only I was setting goals, but how I wasn't going after them. And that is actually conditioning that we all received from young age, and all the indoctrination that we went through as well, which I'm not going to get into. There'll be a whole entire video for this at some point, I'm sure, that we'll talk about. But how I was setting goals and not doing anything about them at all. So, for example, individuals high in consciousness may be more disciplined and goal-oriented, leading to greater success in achieving their objectives and shaping their reality accordingly. And then, of course, vice versa. Those who have lower consciousness and lower awareness and self-awareness, as I was, which feels like not that long ago at all, they will not be disciplined, they will not be goal-oriented, they will self-sabotage, they will procrastinate, they will avoid, they will whine and complain, they will see roadblocks, they will see things that are happening to them and not for them, they will have a lot of excuses, and sometimes recognize that they're excuses and do nothing about it, and while other times not even recognize that they're excuses yet, because one day they will. And great news is that nothing is permanent, that everything is temporary, which means that you too, if you are in this area, in this field, you can become high consciousness and be a go-getter and be disciplined and be consistent and be who you want to be by changing your personality, and that will change your personal reality. And then the last one is adaptability and resilience. Your personality can influence how you adapt and change and overcome challenges. Some see challenges as problems, while others see problems as challenges. They don't see problems, they just see challenges. While others don't see the challenges, they just see problems. And it does affect how you're going to see and experience the world. Your reality is created through how you see it, right? Individuals with resilient personalities may be better equipped to cope with adversity and bounce back from setbacks, ultimately shaping their reality into a more positive direction. So all of us are resilient. Every single human being is resilient, but there are types of personalities who are much more resilient. They are the ones that will see opportunities and not problems. They will see challenges and not problems. They will see solutions on the other side of a problem. They are disciplined. They're going to go after what they want, and nothing will get in their way. And they're not going to experience as many blocks that the rest of the population does. See, all of us were conditioned to become great employees and not employers. There is a really big difference between the mindsets, between realities, between how one sees and perceives the world versus the other. How one is able to see their self-worth while the other perhaps struggles with it. So these are just the 7 different ways of how our personalities create our personal reality. But this is not limited to the 7, because there are many different ways, but these are how I like to call it, it's like the umbrella of them all, and there's more under each and every umbrella, going in depth into each and every one. It's like each one is a tree, and then there's many roots underneath each tree, right? Rebecca says, I do notice I am a different person. Victor says, oh, you're this person. So how we see ourselves and how others see ourselves is rarely going to match, because how others see us, here's how I'll put it. The way you see Victor, Rebecca, is the way you see yourself. You see his actions and behaviors through your understanding of who you are, of how you understand yourself. And he does the same thing. Every single human being does the same thing. We see things as we are and not as they are. We see people as who we are and not who they are. That's why we will never truly get to know anyone, and no one will ever know who you truly are, because we see everything through our own eyes and lenses. And when people talk to you, when people say things to you, when people complain about you, they're telling you more about who they are than who you are, because they're expressing to you their perceptions, their interpretations, how they see and interpret things, how they perceive things, how they understand them, the stories that they carry in their minds. They tell you about their buttons, their triggers, their annoyances, their irritations, not yours. So the more we listen to people around us, the more we understand them, and the more we can mold ourselves to them in the ways that we want to mold ourselves. So what I mean by that, to clarify a little bit deeper, if this is not clear enough, is that I want you to take time to identify who you want to be, and then see how who you want to be will match up to who everybody else in your life wants you to be. Last week, I believe it was on Thursday, I was doing a podcast in our Facebook group, Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women, where I was talking about, the podcast is Get Your Shit Together, Weekly Life Guidance with myself, Yana Kasperczak, where I was talking about basically sharing a little bit of a small little tool that or exercise, which is also a tool. Actually, every exercise is practically a tool, if we're going to be honest and see that every exercise, the more you practice it, the more of a tool it becomes, where you get to see what roles you're playing in your life. So I feel like this part that I'm talking about right now, molding yourself and creating your plan for what kind of a person you want to be and your personality, that video might be great, helpful for you to watch, listen to. So that was May 2nd, I believe it was, in the group. You can probably type in the date and see what comes up as well. And other than that, I feel like that is all that I had for you ladies for today. And Rebecca says, my son says they teach us things for jobs they want us to do. Yeah, that's 100% what it is we are, especially in school, we were being taught, and our kids now too as well. This is where we as parents come in after the school, and we help them to expand and become better in those areas that we want them to become better and that they want to become better in. Because at school, we're being taught how to be good, obedient employees and do as we're told, not as we want. And be productive and sell your soul. That's how I'll put it. I remember I came across this quote that for me, it was really eye-opening, and it might be for you as well. You might have come across this quote already or not, but this quote was, your salary, the salary you get, is a bribe to keep your dreams at bay. And when I heard that, and at that point I already quit my 9 to 5, even though it wasn't 9 to 5. That job was pennies for 5 a.m. until 5 or 6 or even 8 p.m. some days. Yeah, the pay was ridiculous. Anyways, so after I left that job and the previous job and the previous jobs I had, I've been working since I was 13 years old for someone. And it takes quite a bit to reprogram yourself to work for yourself. That's why so many women struggle, really, really struggle, and feel an enormous amount of suffering on top of that struggle on reconditioning themselves to work for themselves because of that deeply rooted program that they received, that all of us received, or most of us received, because we're employees and not employers. But hearing that quote, that a salary is a bribe for you to keep your dreams at bay, I thought, wow. And then flipping it on its head is that if we're putting our dreams at bay and we're not following and chasing and working on our dreams, then whose dreams are we building? Sometimes it would be, how would I put it? It would be a shared dream, where when you partner up with someone and you have a shared dream. In our example with Empathy in Your Court Academy, with me and my partner, our united, practically everything Empathy in Your Court Academy stands for is our united shared dream. And at its core, it's to raise the consciousness of the world and help women to not only overcome themselves, but build a life in the business that it is beyond their dreams, and they are absolutely fulfilled and happy and joyful with their life and their business. So sometimes our shared dreams, we can come together and build them, while for other people, they have their own goal, they have their own dream, and they want to do it on their own, and they do it on their own. And then there's others who their dream is to just live a life by working for someone and build a different type of a dream. By working for someone, earning an income, and their dream might be to travel the world or just raise a family or have leisure time after work. Everyone has a different dream, and different purpose and different things that fulfill them. And that's okay. We're meant to be living that way. Not everybody dreams about cutting grass, but there are people who absolutely love cutting grass, and they make a business out of that, or they work for someone else because this is what they absolutely love, and they get to do that every single day. And you see those who love what they do because it shows through what they do. There are people who hate what they do and they cut grass for a living, and you can see it. You can see it with the grass dying. While others, they love what they do and the grass looks amazing and incredible, and they even do different shapes on the grass as well. So to each their own, and we need everyone on this planet living their dreams, following their purpose, and feeling fulfilled. Then Rebecca says, I would love to work for myself, but I'm not at the point where I know what I would do. So a great place I would recommend right now for you to check out is the group that Anna and I put together called Soulful Mompreneur Conversations, Success Mindset, and Business Growth. I might have butchered the name a little bit. This is where we literally help women with the very, very, very beginning stages where women don't even know what they want to do. There's a checklist that we have available in the group for helping you to get the idea of what you want to do, and then a checklist for what you need to start your business from zero to pretty much taking it off the ground and launching it. So, and then there's going to be more checklists coming as well, and these are free checklists as well. So check out that group. That might be a great starting point for you as well. And anyone who's listening or watching, if you are interested in creating your own business and starting your entrepreneurial journey, but you don't even know where to start or where to go, what to do, that group will be a perfect starting point for you as well. And we also do podcasts, live podcasts in the group on Mondays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, each and every Monday. And different topics, different conversations. So check it out as well. And then Rebecca said, I know a lot about a lot and am qualified in many areas and have many skills and talents, but I don't know what niche is. My niche is a mystery to me. Once again, that's going to be a great starting point, and it's going to help you narrow things down. At this point, I believe we have 9 podcasts in total, so you can watch all these 9 podcasts, and they're typically shorter than the Heal the Unicorn podcast. They're within like 35 to 45 minutes. You might be able to find one that's an hour long, but they're much shorter. So you can watch the podcast, you can go through the group and see what we have available in there, inquire about anything and everything, and it will really help you to narrow down your niche and answer a lot of questions that you might not even know that you have right now when it comes to identifying your niche, your target market, and then putting everything in place, creating an entity, the business entity, and getting it started and lift off, launching it like the rocket. Anyway, so that's it. That's all I have for each and every one of you. So join that group, the Soulful Mompreneur Conversations, which is Success Mindset and Business Growth. So that group, tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. Bethany and I will be doing a live podcast, Heal the Unicorn podcast, in our Facebook group, Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women. So check out that group as well, see if it's the community you have been looking for, and if not, no hard feelings whatsoever. Continue to look for it, because communities, the right communities for us, can completely transform our worlds and our realities as well. And then last but not least, next week I'll be doing another one of these weekly live story time with myself, Yana Kasperczak, on my personal page at 11:45-ish a.m. Eastern Time, right after the Sacred Circle. That's where the times are not always on the dot. And just a reminder, any one of you who is interested in the programs that I mentioned before, the Law of Being program or the Energy Leadership Index Assessment, reach out to me and I will give you any information that you want on it to help you get started if you are ready to get started. But other than that, keep your eyes and ears open for another program that I will be launching, that I have created myself, that I will be launching really, really soon. And yeah, it's going to help you to understand the imposter within you. But other than that, that's all. That's my spiel in the end. Rebecca says, Heal the Unicorn Group has been a major tool in my healing journey. Thank you for saying that. And I'm glad that it has been a major tool in your healing journey as well, since it is also called Heal the Unicorn, which you have been healing that unicorn within you so you can shine as bright as you were meant to be and learn to let go of anything or anyone that is causing you to dull your light and to not shine as brightly. So that is all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rebecca, for being on here with me live, for sharing your journey and your story with us a little bit as well. And until we see each other next time, thank you to all the replay watchers and silent watchers as well. Hello to you all. I see you. I appreciate you. And until we see each other next time, bye, everybody.